Servus and hello. My name is Fireball313 and this is a new episode of Beyond the Game. Today in this video I have two fighting games, a horror game and an action adventure. So let's start with the first one, and that is the retail version of ShadowMan Remastered, and this got published by Limited Run and it came out in January 2022. Of course, you could download it digitally on the PC, on the Xbox and on the PlayStation 4 and 5 and even on the Switch also. Yes, like I said already, this is a remaster. The original game came out in 1999 and was created by Acclaim Studios T-Side and published by Acclaim Entertainment. The game is based on a ShadowMan comic book series by Valiant Comics, it even says here. Yeah, and the first release back then was on the Nintendo 64. That was a showpiece on the console because that was really from a technical standpoint, a really awesome game. Then there was the PC port that had higher resolution, of course, and the worst version was later on the original PlayStation. I think in December 1999, they even released a Dreamcast port with some enhanced graphics and things like that. Yeah, I never bought actually this game, but I was quite interested in it. You know, like this was this time when Forsaken came out and Shadowman and Turok. So Acclaim had a lot of cool IPs, let's say it like that. But I never bought it actually for the original PlayStation because I mean I saw all the articles in the magazine and I saw the review scores, and that was quite high. But I never had the desire to play it or to buy it. On the PC, I remember I played a demo version for 1 hour, and yeah, that was interesting. I compared this game a little bit with Tomb Raider because of the camera perspective and the way how you move your character. Basically, you have a gun also, you know, but there's of course a bigger twist than Tomb Raider. But like I said, I never had the desire to buy the original one back then, over 20 years ago. Yeah, when Limited Run announced this remastered version, I thought, why not, you know, just give it a try. I mean, basically the standard version was €35, and that was not really expensive. Of course, you had an special edition, this one called Classic Edition. That was a little bit more expensive than you paid back then on Limited Run, €65. Then you got, of course, the retail version of the game. You got a collector's box. You got a cartridge, like with Turok 2. Then you got a double-sided poster, the official soundtrack, and yeah, like I said, the game with a manual. Yes, but like I said, I'm not a huge fan of this comic. By the way, I never read the comics, so yeah, and I thought this just the standard version is enough for me. What is really important, the masterminds of Night Dive Studio made this remaster with the help of the Kex engine. And yeah, and they did a lot of improvements. So for example, they remastered the music and the sound effects, they restored voice dialogue and restored some levels. They replaced all the textures with HD textures and objects. They improved the AI. They added even 3 new levels. And there was an improved control scheme also. And I was really surprised. I mean, back then I played this just on a PC with mouse and keyboard, and that was okay, let's say it like that. I never played on original PlayStation or Nintendo 64, so I didn't know about these control schemes. But when I played this here on the Switch, it played just like a standard now because of the improved controls, just like a standard third-person shooter. Yeah. I don't want to talk too much in detail about this storyline. You know, it's quite interesting. You know, it reminds me a little bit with Soul Reaver in so many things, because first you are in the real world and then you're later in the world of the dead, I think. I forgot how they called this one. This thing. Shit, wait. Yes, the dead side. Then you are entering the dead side because I mean ShadowMan has mystical powers with his voodoo mask, and then he can walk on the in our real world and then on dead side, right? I forgot. Dead side. Yeah, where is it? Shit, I forgot. Yes, Dead Side. Yeah, sorry. It's a couple of months ago that I played that, so and you really don't believe that if you play so much games, sometimes you really forget some stuff, you know. Especially, I mean, basically, this is really just a regular third-person shooter. Back then, this was quite an impressive title, but after that, so many different games came, made more enhancements about control scheme, storytelling, and telling. Telling the story. So yeah. So I must really admit, from the technical standpoint, it was really impressive. That was really a very good remaster. I can't complain in this case. For the Switch, really, you have 1080p resolution with 60 frames per second. So now no hiccups, no nothing in this case. But I remember I saw one time a video, I think a long play about the Nintendo 64 version, and I noticed really that because of the cartridge format, the soundtrack and the voices had really low bit rate. And here, when you play the remastered, you immediately notice that the soundtrack is remastered and improved, and all the dialogue also. So that is really nice. So it doesn't sound like some kind of old movie, something like this. Yes. Let you know, guys, you know what? Let's look at the standard retail version. You had this, of course, for the PlayStation and for the Xbox also. Yeah, I choose the Switch version because I don't know even. I thought, you know what, just take the Switch version, and that is, you know, I didn't thought about if I want to have the PlayStation version. Yeah. Okay, so this is the front cover, and if I'm correct, actually, the original cover looks like that also, you know. And when we turn it around, then it says actually new weapons, new audio, new enemies, and 3 new levels. Yes, he is coming, stalking criminals in spirit world and real world. A possessed man is coming, a voodoo mask in his chest and lines of power in his back. ShadowMan is coming, traveling evil from life side to dead side, to stop an apocalypse, to save your soul. And here you have some things, some features, what they tell you. And here at the end they say, ShadowMan Remastered is a complete overhaul of the classic game with restored, previously cut content. Yes, I played this game for a couple of hours, and I must admit it's not really my cup of tea. It's, yeah, you do some fighting, you do some exploring, and you do a lot of puzzling. And this is what I really didn't like. And the storyline was, for me, not also so sexy in this case, you know. So it was interesting to play that after so long. I mean, the game is basically 25 years, 26 years old. So finally, I was able to play that, but let's say if I would not buy the remastered, I didn't miss anything from my point of view. Of course, everybody has different kind of taste, you know, but this is just my opinion in this case. But basically, this is really a good third-person shooter. And if you never play the classic version, then it's your chance to give it a try, you know. But you can buy it on limited run anymore. I mean, on the website, you get it on the used market. And then already this version, you know, what you guys see costs already around €100 plus. It's quite fascinating. I didn't check the prices for the classic edition, but of course, I believe it's more expensive. Yes. And what I like already is when we open this one, we get a booklet. And I thought in the beginning this is an art book, but no, this is a full-fledged manual. You don't believe that. Soon we will look at that, you know, but I always love manuals. You guys know that, you know. And for example, with Gris, you have a booklet also, and I thought this was a manual also, but this was an art book. And here, this is, yeah, just a manual. And I love these small, tiny manuals, yeah, for the Switch. I mean, I think every Switch game needs a manual, you know, because it belongs to the experience, if you ask me. Yeah, but soon we will look at that. And yes, we have an different background, and the problem is because of my lighting here, you can't see this so much, but actually because it's quite dark here, let me see. Here, you can see there are some images, you know. So it's not just a standard white background like with so many games, you know, at least something. Reversible cover could be nice, but it's not a must-have in this case. But I think it adds to the atmosphere because, I mean, ShadowMan is blue, purple, dark. This is the kind of color scheme, and this continues here also. Yeah, and here we have, of course, the cartridge. Yeah, so, and let's look at the manual. And I read this already for a couple of times, and I must admit this is a prime example how a manual for a game for the Switch and even for the Switch 2 should be, because you have a nice introduction if you don't know the comic, you know, and the whole universe of ShadowMan, you know, stuff like that. So you get a nice introduction, you know, they continue with this, then they introduce the main character and of course his abilities, and they talk about the mystery of the ShadowMan, and here they talk about the side characters. And then you get a small map. It's a, sorry. What is a small bummer, I would place this map actually on the back, you know, of this menu, and then I would place it like that, you know, because then you have more room. So here this map is a little bit small now, but you have a hub world, of course, and then you can enter. It's a little bit like a Metroidvania, you know. Here they explain about the main menu, the game settings, just the standard stuff. And here is the standard control scheme, and this is already quite like a typical third-person shooter, you know. And then you can, of course, configure a lot of stuff, you know. And what is nice with not limited run games, with games from Night Dive Studios, you can even change the graphics, you know, if you want different textures, if you want to have the old game experience, you know, from a technical standpoint, then it's possible also, you know, to tweak a lot of stuff. Yeah, then they tell you what your character can do. And I don't know even, because I never read the original manuals 26 years ago, so I don't know if this is just a straight copy from the original manual. So they explain, of course, all the possibilities, what you can do with your character. But back then in 1999, you know, how to say, people are not used to that your character can crouch, jump, climb, things like that. So they explain a lot, like you can crouch, that you can jump from one place to another, that you can hang on edges and ledges and things like that, you know, that you can swim and blah, 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 all that stuff. And then they explain, of course, here the display things, you know, with your maximum life force and your voodoo power, or shadow power, they call that, you know. And they really go in detail about this, you know, about your shadow level and your shadow power. And this is really, really cool. I love that, because everything is about voodoo magic, you know, and then they give here a good insight about this. You have, of course, a lot of quest items. I hope you guys can see that. Here are your basic weapons, you know, and here's, of course, the medikit, for example, and munition, things like this, you know. And then, of course, you have an inventory system, you know, and they talk here about that. And yeah, and then, of course, later when you are in the dead world, or I forgot already the word here. And then you have the voodoo weapons. Yes, you have the voodoo weapons, right. The game is quite dark, really. And I remember on the PC, I really had to move the slider, you know, for the brightness level quite up. I saw video material from the Nintendo 64 and PlayStation version, and these games, I mean, both back then are really, really dark games, you know, really, really dark games. A little bit like, not Turok, but was it Doom 64? Yes, right. Yeah, and at the end, of course, you get the credits from the Night Dive Studios who ported the game, you know, and here are the credits of the original designer team. This is really, really cool. What I like also is that they keep the atmosphere of the design from the game, you know, here in the menu, they keep this, you know, with the dark color scheme, you know, it's not just black background, but you can really see images in the back, you know, and that is nice. And it's really atmospheric, really, really fits perfectly. Yeah, I love that, you know. Yes, so prime example to that this is actually a really good manual. This is the way how a Switch game and Switch 2 game should have one like this. Is ShadowMan a recommendation? It depends, of course. If you love the universe, the atmosphere, it's a little bit like Soul Reaver, you know. It has this mystical feel, you know, things like that. If you take this away, then it's more or less a standard third-person shooter, you know, with puzzling and Metroidvania gameplay. Yeah. If you want to buy this game, of course, you can do this digitally. Digitally is quite cheap, let's say. I mean, because you don't get it just on official level, now you must pay it secondhand. I would not recommend to pay 100 euro just for this version. This is really, really too expensive. I would say maximum something like 50 euro, maybe, nothing more. Yeah, if you are a collector, of course, I think you would like to have that. But if you want some more stuff for in your collection, when we talk about ShadowMan Remaster, then just grab the classic edition. But I think this one is more expensive. Yeah, so, but this game gets from me a thumbs up. The next game is a Switch game also, and this is quite fascinating. This is Carrion, and this is a horror game what came out in summer 2022. Digitally, you could get it on the PC, on the Switch, on the PlayStation, and of course on the Xbox. But this one is the only physical release, you know. I don't know why it is like that. The publisher is Devolver Digital, and I don't know if they maybe sign an exclusive contract with Nintendo. I don't know, but at least till my knowledge, this is the only retail version on the market. And before that, I remember I saw previews about this game, and this was quite fascinating. Normally in a video game, you always play the hero or the anti-hero, but here you play the enemy actually, and this is so awesome. This is a very, very how to say, simple story. You are an alien creature, you got captivated by humans and they put you in prison in an underground facility, and you want to escape. And you control this creature, you control all the limbs, the tentacles and all that stuff. And so they even claim this is a reverse horror game. They even say this here. So that is really, really funny because, yeah, like I said, you play the creature, and when you get out of the prison, of course, you can wander across the facility, and you must consume, you must eat to grow, to be stronger. And then, of course, you have a lot of guards and scientists, and you can kill them in very, very creative way. And everything is in pixel art. Soon I can show that, but it's quite violent. Let's say it like that, you know. And just this premise was so intriguing for me. And that I even considered to buy the digital version. But I thought, you know what, wait a little bit, maybe there will be a retail release. And quite funny, I never saw any news about that. And then I was in a second-hand video game store in Nijmegen, that is in Holland. And then I saw this version, and I knew immediately I want to have that one, you know. And when because every time before I record this, I inform myself about stuff about the production and things like that. And then I figure out that this version is the only retail version on the market. Yeah. So basically, this game, if you buy it in a store, it costs something like 30 euro. And actually, I can tell you guys, I have still the receipt. I think I even paid 30 euro. Used. Yes, actually, I paid 30 euro used. And but I looked on eBay now. The price for this retail version is 50 euro now. So it doesn't surprise me, because it's the only version of this game, and when the demand is quite high, then the prices, of course, change also. Yeah. The game got created by a small Polish developer called Phobia Game Studio. Yeah, and like I said, it's published by Devolver Digital. Yeah. And here, the backside, I mean, I like already the cover design. It's a shame that they went with this kind of design because everything in the game is pixel art. And I think it would be more perfect if they would use a pixel design here also, to set already the mood for the game. But this is a small complaint, let's say like that. So here, stalk, consume, grow, and evolve. Yes, Carrion is a reverse horror game in which you assume the role of an amorphous creature of unknown origin. Stalk and consume that those that imprisoned you to spread fear and panic throughout the facility. Grow and evolve as you tear down the prison and acquire more and more devastating abilities on the path to retribution. And what is really cool also, the AI of the guards are quite intelligent. So sometimes you must really, stay in the dark first and wait till you can strike, because the guards can really kill you very, very easily, So it has a lot of stealth elements also, And you see, if you talk about the gameplay, I mean, you have a HUD level. And of course, you must consume, you must eat, then you get new abilities and you grow. And then more pieces of this facility you can open and you can enter. So it is more or less a Metroidvania. Sometimes you must go back to a location where you went already, to get because of your new abilities, you can open this path or you can go there. Yeah, really, really cool game. It's not too long, I think. If you want to finish it, it's something like 5-6 hours. Yes. And what I like already about the retail version is they keep the mood even here when we open it, because then you can see the creature, just part of the creature, his eyes, for example. In the beginning, the creature is quite small, but how more you consume, how bigger you are and how more tentacles you will gain, and they get even longer. And what is interesting also, they had a very innovative, they added an innovative control, to move the character. So you can really move the tentacles. On the PC I saw, you can do it with the mouse cursor, really to move your tentacles quite well. And they put this on the controller is always a little bit different, but I think really it suits the game quite well, this control scheme. It gets a little bit used, you have to say different. In the beginning it's a little bit strange, but you get used to that, after a short while. Yes. So, unfortunately, no reversible cover, but this is not a problem because we have a nice background, and that really fits the mood, and the design is nice. It's a shame that they didn't went for the retro look, but this is okay. Here we have the cartridge. Yes, and then we got a manual, I thought, but I was a little bit disappointed because this is an art book. And yes, you guys know me, I love art books. But if let's say if a publisher let me choose between a proper manual and a proper art book, I always go for the manual. Yeah. And so it's meiner Bummer, it's a small complaint, I mean, at the end, I'm happy also that I get something like an art book, you know, but a manual would be a little bit better from my point of view. But hey, yeah, don't get me wrong, guys. I don't like to complain, you know. Actually, if I'm just honest, you know, and sometimes I have that feeling that I complain a lot, but it's not like that, you know. I just, when I see a product, I try to be neutral, you know, and very early already I notice like, oh, I don't like this, I like that, you know. So it's not that I'm always so negative. No, and if the publisher did something really good, of course, I will name that. And if we talk about the quality of this art book, I must say it's really, really cool. They kept this, of course, in a small booklet with good paper quality, and what you get is actually backgrounds from the game, like here, for example. And here you can see your creatures and some screenshots. So art design you see, and some pieces from the game. Yes. So for example, here you can see later when your creature grows, it has a lot of mouths, you know. Yeah, and so you can see here's a patient or somebody or a scientist, and you just rip him apart, you know. Yes. Looks and it's really, how to say, when you attack a human, you know, and you eat them and you consume them, all the blood is splashing everywhere. You can see that really. It's a little bit ridiculous, but I really, really love the art style, you know. Of course, it's 2D and it's very pixelated. I love that, you know. It's a shame that this kind of game didn't came out back on the Super Nintendo. I knew exactly this game would be never published in Germany, that it would be censored immediately because too violent, you know. Here's a guard trying to defend himself, you know. So, and here is, and this is interesting, here's a portal, let's say it like that. When your character is big enough and gains certain abilities, then this portal opens, and it's mostly a button what you need to press, you know, and then you move to the next location, yeah. Sometimes here is a door closed, then you need certain abilities or a key card, something like that, to open this one, yes. And what is nice is you can walk on the ground and you can hang on the ceiling and on the roof, things like that, you know. Your creature is quite flexible. And with the help of its tentacles, really you can grab a lot of things. Yeah. And here you see, you know, he stayed in the shadow, and then the passenger just went by, and then you just grab him and you eat him. And it makes an awesome sound. Yes. And here, I must admit, I'm not a huge fan when you have a lot of puzzles in action adventure. But here, you have some logic puzzles, and I don't mind them. You know, they add to the experience. You know, yeah. Here you have guards with flamethrowers. They are really quite hard enemies. You know, because with the flamethrowers they can just kill you in a second. But I love the pixel design. Yes, so cool. And in the beginning, I think you can swim, and later you gain the ability to stay underwater. Yeah. Oh. And here you have a guard, and here's, I think, a scientist, something like that. And I know, for example, sometimes you can move cages or boxes, you know, to an elevator or to activate a switch, something like that. Yeah. And how bigger you get and how more tentacles you have, how more enemies you can really fight at the same time, you know, and it's really pure chaos. It's a lot of fun. Normally, I don't like to be the villain in a video game, but this is really an exception, you know. So awesome title. Yes, I can really just recommend this to everybody. But I must say, it's for me not a horror game. For me, it's more like a stealth action adventure, something like that, you know. And all this violence, this gore it's funny, you know. Then I see this game a little bit like a comedy. Yeah, so it gets a recommendation, you know. And I like, of course, the retail version also. The only complaint what I have, besides that the design here is not pixel art, I would love to see a proper manual. But I'm happy with the art book also. It's really good quality. Yeah, so thumbs up from me. Let's continue with our next entry, and that is a fighting game from SNK Playmore, and this is the King of Fighters 13. This one got published by Rising Star Games, and this came out together with the Xbox 360 version in 2011. But before that, there was an arcade version in 2010 in Japan, and I even believe in America. I think the arcade version never came out here in Europe because, I mean, I never saw that basically, because we don't have arcade halls, unfortunately. You know, just I think maybe if I go to Amsterdam, I will find one, or maybe in Berlin. But here, just in my area, you can forget it. Yeah. I have an interesting history when we talk about the King of Fighters. This was back then, of course, a series what came out on the Neo Geo together with Fatal Fury and all these kind of fighting games. And I didn't have access to that, you know, because I was not a millionaire, and then Neo Geo was quite expensive, you know, and a Neo Geo CD for me also. Basically, this console never came officially here out. Yes, you could import that, but sorry, I didn't want to pay over 600 euro just for the console. And if you pay 700-800 euro for a cartridge game, yeah, no, unfortunately, no, that was not possible. So when finally, with the PlayStation 2, there came a lot of ports, you know, from the older King of Fighters series. Back then, they just named that King of Fighters 95, 96, till I think 2001. And then they went just with the standard numbering in this case. Yeah, this is the deluxe version, what came out in 2011 also. Yeah, and so my entry in the King of Fighters series was, how to say, it took me a while to get used to King of Fighters, you know, because, like I said, I never played this on the Neo Geo in any kind of way. So I always, for me, Street Fighter was always the top of the card, let's say it like that. And later, of course, Dead or Alive came, and I started to love the series also. And in the later period of the PlayStation 2, I discovered the King of Fighters, and I started to buy some of them. I think my first King of Fighter was King of Fighters 97, yes, 98. And in the beginning, everything was a little bit over the top of the presentation, because these characters are not really grounded like in Street Fighter. They are very, very over the top, you know. And of course, you had already over 20 fighters, so I didn't knew anybody, you know. So, and then they just throw you inside the storyline, and I couldn't understand anything. So it was a rough start for me, and how longer I played the series, how more I started to value the fighting mechanics, the characters. I mean, I don't care about the storyline, and I think nobody plays these kind of games just for the storyline. But over the years, SNK Playmore really redefined, you know, the fighting mechanics, you know, and the gameplay. And now, I must admit, the King of Fighters series is, together with Street Fighter and Dead or Alive, is one of my favorite fighting series. Yeah. And I remember when I bought this one, I was already a fan. I was an established fan. And I remember I saw this in Utrecht in a video game store, and it was brand new, and it was quite cheap. It cost back then just something like 40 euros. So I thought, you know what, give it a try. Especially this is a deluxe edition, you know. And in the beginning, I didn't saw that because it's just a standard case, you know. But you get a lot of goodies. So, and I thought now I talk about that, you know, because later I want to show the PlayStation 4 version, what I have in my possession also. Yeah. So wait 1 second. I need my information thingy. Yeah. So first, let's look at the cover design. And this is quite normal for this series. If you look at the other King of Fighters games, everything is very cinematic, you know, very anime style. Yeah. By the way, she is one of my favorite characters. Fuck, I forgot her name. Yeah, I'm getting old. Yeah, so if we turn it around, the back looks like that, you know. The secret of the Emerald Flames is about to be revealed. 30 plus fighters, new moves, and global online play. That was quite a thing for me also. I mean, with Street Fighter 4, I think even Street Fighter 4 was my first fighting game where I went online, and I was interested how was the net code for the King of Fighters 13. I didn't play so much online. And I'm a noob also, so I think I never won any kind of online game. Yeah, but it was interesting, you know, to try it out. Yeah, so, and here they tell you already what you can expect in this deluxe edition. And then you have a reversible sleeve, a poster, plus move list, and an art CD. Yes, and this is everything just in the standard package. And when you have this in your hand, you feel already that it's heavier than normal. Yes, and when you open it, you have the manual and the poster. Soon we will look at that. Then you have the standard game, of course, on the Blu-ray. And here is the bonus CD. This is not a DVD or a Blu-ray. This is just a standard CD. And you actually must pop this in your PC. And what do you get actually is a lot of alternative cover arts, wallpapers, and artworks. That is quite nice. Of course, the resolution is in 2025 quite small. I think the biggest wallpaper is 1280 by 720p, 720, I think, yes. And the smallest one is 640 by 480, something like that. Yeah. But really, really nice, you know, nice extra, I must admit. But let's look at the reversible sleeve, because we get a different cover. This is the standard cover, and here is the alternative cover. And you will find this one also here on the bonus art CD. If there would be a small complaint already in the beginning, it's a shame that they didn't include the soundtrack here as an MP3 format, because the CD is quite big. And when you look of all the content, there was enough room, you know, to put the soundtrack on. You know, that's small complaint, you know. Yeah. So, but you know, let's put this let's move this cover in a different direction, and then you guys can see it how it looks when I put it inside. Oh wait, then it looks like this. And you know why? You know what, guys? It looks even nicer than with this one, I think. Yes, I think I will keep it like that. Yeah, the background looks the same, so they didn't change anything in this case. Yeah, so, and then, of course, oh, wait, here we have the standard Blu-ray with a cool print. It's the same image like this one, yes. Let me put this back. And then let's continue. We have a proper manual. Yeah, you don't believe that. I mean, this is a game from 2011. Back then, we still had a manual. And I think this is quite important because of all the move list, you know, that is always very interesting. When I buy a fighting game in the past and you have the move list here in the manual, first I read the manual and I look on the move list, you know, to get familiar with stuff like that. So here, of course, they talk about the storyline, you know, and here is the basic control scheme. If you are used to the control scheme of Street Fighter, then this is quite easy for you, you know. Yes, and then you're of course starting the game, installation, the combat screen, you know, just the basic things if you are a newcomer in the series and if you're a newcomer in the fighting games also. In the King of Fighters series, that is most important. You don't have single player games in this case, so you always choose a team of 3 or 4 and with a striker, a helper character, and then yes, you have big matches. So that means really you must eliminate the 3 other characters, enemies, you know. So yeah, and if one health bar of your first character is depleted, then the second one will step in, you know, till your team is dead. Let's say it like that. Yeah. And here they talk about the standard control scheme, you know, like how you dash forward, backward, how you do bigger, small jumps and long jumps, things like that, you know. And here even they tell you how to activate the EX super special move or the Neo Max super special, you know. Yeah, things like that. Here they explain the power gauge, that is important also. But, and this is important, King of Fighters 13 has a really, really good tutorial, you know, to tell you all the basics. And they even tell you there is a tutorial, yeah. But what is cool also, they talk about the game system here, how you do a guard crush, emergency evasion, and things like that, you know. Really, really cool, you know, I like that. And of course, there is the arcade version included here on this Blu-ray. Yeah, and here they talk about the PlayStation Network, how you play online, how you do ranked matches, things like that. Just standard stuff actually. Yeah, so, by the way, nice design. Yeah, I like that. But you guys noticed we don't see the move list here at all. They just talk about, wait, where is it? Just the standard moveset for every character, how you block, how you jump, things like that. And this now is a very, very smart move. What SNK did is, here we have the poster, like I mentioned. And the poster is, I hope you guys can see that. This is one of my favorite characters. I still don't remember her name. Mia? I'm not sure. Oh, fuck. Stupid me. Yeah, at least. Nice quality, really nice quality. The paper is not too thin and not too thick. It's really just perfect, you know. Has a small glossy touch. Yes, and now what I really, really like is when you turn it around, you get the move list of all the 30 characters. So awesome. And wait, and now I must check what was the name of my, yes, the name of my character was Mai. Yes, I remember Mai. So my favorite character is of course Terry Bogard and Mai. I really love to play them, you know. Yeah, so, and here you get the move list for all these characters. So cool, you know, so awesome, so nice. Yeah, and you guys can see there are a lot. If they would include this in the menu, I think then you have, I don't know, 7, 8 more pages, and then the menu would be bigger. So this is really, really cool. On one side, you have an awesome poster, and the other side, you have the complete move list. No complaints about that. So I love that. Yeah. Yes, awesome. Wait. I don't want to. Shit, I forgot. How was that? Oh yes, right. So, yeah, let's put this back. So, is this an awesome game? Yes, I really like the fighting mechanics, and of course, I love always this free-on-free. You know, this is different than just standard one-on-one fighting mechanics, because sometimes, because in the beginning, before you start a game, you can even choose which of your characters of your team you want to play first. You know. This gives really a strategic taste to the whole concept, and I love that. And what is important also, I like the graphical presentation. Of course, it's still a 2D game, fighting game, but it has an awesome art design, you know, and I think the resolution is 720p. Back then, this game was really, really gorgeous. Yeah. So, but I'm not finished yet, because there was later a version for the PlayStation 4, and that is King of Fighters 13 Global Match, and this is an updated version. So what you get, first I must say, in 2013 there was an updated version that called King of Fighters 13 Climax. And Global Match has all the stuff included with some enhancements. This retail version came out in, let me think. Yes, in November 2023 for the PlayStation 4 and for the Nintendo Switch. Of course, it was possible to buy this online also. Yeah, but I always like to have my retail games. Yeah, and this is the definitive edition of the King of Fighters 13. Yeah, and here you get, wait, I need my information. I don't want to say anything different. Yes, of course, they did some minor tweaks about the gameplay. There's, of course, online battle with rollback netcode. They added new characters. Now you have, I think, something like 36 characters now. Yeah. So, and they enhanced some stuff. What is the small bummer? Yes, the game is now in 1080p. But they didn't enhance the graphics. So basically they just they rendered the basic game just on a higher resolution and that's it, you know, so there is no graphical enhancements and you really can see that. And if you first play the game and you look at the graphics of this one and you pop this one in the PlayStation 4, you will notice if we talk about the presentation, there is no difference in this case. It's a small shame, I must admit. Yeah, but it's actually an update, a port. Yeah, unfortunately, this is just a normal standard retail version from 2023. So that means we don't have a manual. And we don't have any kind of poster, things like that, no extras. It's just the game itself with this information sleeve, a real shame, I think. Yeah, but what I like about the presentation is SNK put some effort in that. For example, you have an alternative, not alternative, you have a nice background. It's not just white, it looks cool. And wait, I can show you guys. The whole thing looks nice, awesome. Yes, this is good, I think. I would love to have a manual with a proper move list, you know, for all the characters, especially for the new 6 characters, what they add in this version. Yeah, unfortunately not. But you have a good tutorial, yeah, things like that. I remember when I bought this one brand new, it cost you something like 40 euro. If you want to have it in used condition, it's a little bit more expensive, then you must pay something like 50 euro also. Yeah. And of course, this game gets a recommendation. But what is quite fascinating for me, I mean, this is a deluxe edition and you got it for the full price and you get so much content here, you know. So much content with poster and bonus art CD. And then you move from the PlayStation 3 to the PlayStation 4. And then you just get the basics. And that is not so much, just the game. And that's it, you know. That is really that. Then you can really see in which direction we are going, you know, in the future. So that means maybe with the PlayStation 6, we will not have any kind of retail games. You never know. And if so, then it's just, you know, the packaging and then just the medium, what is maybe then an extra Blu-ray, I don't know. But with no manual, no nothing. Yeah, real bummer. Yeah, but the game is awesome and the updated version also. So this is a thumbs up from my side. And like usual, I keep the best for last, and that is the special edition. I think it's a special edition. Wait, does it says? No, but it's not the standard version. So I think I call it special edition of Fatal Fury's City of the Wolves. The release of this one is April 2025. And City of the Wolf is a prime example of my shopping behavior, you know, because even I buy stuff sometimes online, you know. Normally I go in a video game store or an electronic store to buy my video games. But a friend of my girlfriend, she is a member of Amazon Prime, and then there was a Prime Days, you know, then you get a lot of cheap things, you know, discounts on, and then she asked my girlfriend if we wanted something, you know, and then I looked on Amazon and I saw this version. It was cheaper, you know, and then I ordered it. So this was my first purchase online for 2025, and I think it will be my last, because like I said, I don't like to buy my stuff online, you know. I support video game stores. Yeah. This is a quite interesting game, because that is the first Fatal Fury game after Garou Mark of the Wolves, and the release of this game was 1999, so 26 years ago. Yeah, and like I told you guys, because I was already a fan of the King of Fighters series, and I have some Fatal Fury games in my possession. And I was quite curious how the newest version of Fatal Fury will play. I mean, I saw a lot of trailers, and they explain already, you know, that there will be a revolutionary gameplay, things like that. Yeah. So, yeah, so I bought, and I thought, you know what, because I love to collect video games, I don't want the standard version. I asked then for the special edition. Yeah, the original price for this one is 80 euro. I got this one for 50, so I saved 30 euro. I think for 50 euro is really, really good. Quite interesting. If you look on the used market, it's 50 euro also now. So, and I think this is a good price for the content, what you can expect. Yeah, and what can you expect actually is, and they tell you this here on the back, the deluxe, it's a deluxe edition, not deluxe edition, yes. So Fatal Fury Deluxe Edition, or here, no, this is funny, here they tell you Deluxe Edition, and then they tell you Special Edition. So it's both, okay? Deluxe, Special, Hyper Edition, okay? You get a steelbook, you get the original soundtracks on CD, you get a sticker sheet, you get a poster, you get an art book, and you get some downloadable character, and a season pass one. Downloadable stuff is always like, bleh, you know? I want physical stuff, really physical stuff. But what I already mentioned is really, really cool. Yes, this, by the way, is the German version. After 26 years, Fatal Fury is finally back, and the rev system brings new excitement to the game. Yeah, and then you get to see some screenshots and some of these characters. And yeah, you know what? Let's look at the Deluxe Special Hyper Duper Edition. Yeah, and what you guys will notice immediately when you put this in your hand, it is heavy. It is really heavy. So I don't know, 2 kilogram maybe. I don't have a weight here or something. Yeah. Oh, I forgot. I love already the box. You know, it has a smooth surface with some glossy touch. I don't know if you guys can see that. The only problem what you have is with that you can see fingerprints very easily. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I love the design actually, and the way how the box feels. It doesn't feel cheap, you know. And when you open it, you can already see it's not thin paper, it's quite bigger one, so it's really, really steady. And you know, and that thing is really packed full with goodies, and let's get everything out. And first, here, this is a box from the inside, and you can see it's really thick paper. It's not too thin, and I love that. Yeah, that's cool. So let's look first at the standard edition of Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. Of course, you can buy this standard version. I think now you pay something like 40 euro, something like that. Yeah. And of course, the cover is a little bit different. You know, I like this also. This gives this comic vibe, you know, because of all that. And I love the art style, by the way. You know, when you see this game in motion, it looks really, really gorgeous. And I think it's the Unreal Engine. Yes, it's the Unreal Engine, you know. So it's so interesting to see. I know the Unreal Engine since 1999 when the original Unreal came out. No, that was 1998. Sorry, yes. And So, of course, you have different versions of the Unreal Engine, and the engine evolved over time. But it's so fascinating. You see, for example, the newest Fortnite version runs on the Unreal Engine, and that is a totally different graphic design compared with this one, you know. So it's so awesome how flexible this engine is, you know, and how gorgeous you can present your game with these engines. And don't worry, I don't want to make too much commercial about the Unreal Engine. Yeah, after 26 years, Final Fury is back. New ref system supercharges the excitement. Memorable fighters from far and wide descend on the street of Southtown, burst into battle with the rest system and fearsome set of moves and maneuvers. Classic battle system evolved. Two control schemes, fun for newcomers and veteran alike. Yes, and what is important also, you can play, of course, you have, for a fighting game, a quite good single-player campaign with a storyline, and there's, of course, network play also. Yeah, when we open it, then of course you have the game on a standard Blu-ray, and this is already a complaint from my side. It's a white background. Wow, a white background, just some information here. It would be nice if they would place an image, something like that, you know. Yes, this is a standard for a special, how they call that? Deluxe Special Super Hyper Edition, yeah. Okay, then you get a small menu, how they explain you how you purchase your season pass. Here you have the download code, so this is digital content, and then you have a DLC costume for Terry Bogard. Yeah, I don't like this kind of stuff. I want to have this already included in the game. I don't want to buy specially for that, you know. This should be included in the game for free, you know. Should be part of the experience, if you ask me. Yeah, so just a standard version. Yeah, it's a shame, no background or alternative cover. Yes. Then let's look at the steelbox, and the steelbox is a standard steelbox. You see this texture here, and you would think, you know, that is something like old metal thing like that. Unfortunately not. It's really just smooth. You can feel the logo. You know, you can feel that. Would be nice if you would feel all this stuff here, you know. But the design looks nice. It looks used, dirty. And on the other way around, it's like that. Color scheme is nice. Quality is good. No complaints about that. And what is really, really smart is that you get the soundtrack CDs in the steelbook. Yes. And you don't believe that? It's on CD, it's not a digital download. And that is cool. So first, let me take out the CDs, and then you can see the background. And quite funny, in the original game, white background. Here they put the effort, and you have some artworks. So why not in the original game also? Because it's part of the deluxe super edition, you know? Yeah, so looks cool. And here is the print of the CDs itself. And you now guys notice maybe already, it's the same like that. So when you place it here, it fits perfectly. And here also, yeah. You get a small cheat, paper cheat, and here on the one side you see the soundtrack this the name of all the songs from the first CD, and here from the second CD. Cool, cool, cool. I love that. Yes. And you have a holder even here, you know, to put this paper sheet here in place, and then it really sticks. Then you get the sticker sheet, and that is cool, awesome. You get from every Fatal Fury game, you get the original logo as a sticker. So you can go back into history and time, basically. The first Fatal Fury, Fatal Fury 2, Fatal Fury Special, then the third Fatal Fury, Real-bound Fatal Fury. I remember I saw this game in a not in video game, in a, how you call this, where you rent the movies and stuff like that. Videoland, something like that. And then I saw that, and I took this game because you could even not buy, you could rent some movies and even some video games. And I remember I rent the PlayStation 1 version. Back then I was not so impressed about the game. Then we have Real Bout Fatal Fury Special. I have this on the Sega Saturn. And then Real Bout Fatal Fury 2. Then here Fatal Fury Wild Ambition. And then, of course, the all-time classic Garou Mark of the Wolves. And here is a sticker of City of the Wolves. Yeah, cool, cool, cool. I love that. Really awesome. Yes, let me put this back. Wait. So, yes. Okay, dokie. Let's continue. Then, and this is awesome, really awesome. Check this out. This is the art book of Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. And for a fighting game, this is awesome. Check this out. We have unfortunately no numbers, but it's so big, you know. 1 second, I must check a thing. Yeah, okay, now let's look at the art book. And when I open, I can feel already that it's brand new, you know. So the table of content is that they introduce the characters, the locations, then you get some key art from Terry, and then the character selection. And this is quite funny information. Illustration in this art book may not represent final design. So that means basically that they produced this before the game was finished. Yes, and I love this presentation. It looks so cool. Rev it up, unleash your fury. And then we have one of the main characters now, and that is Rock Howard. I think I pronounce him correctly. You get some basic information about him and the voice actor also. What is a complaint from my side is, this would be a perfect solution to place even all the input stuff, you know, for special moves and all that thing. You know what I mean? But they don't do this, you know. You get screenshots, you get some art design and a cool image. But no move list. No move list at all, you know. And this is, yeah, this is the biggest mistake, I think, or missed opportunity, because this is a fighting game and the move list is so important, and they give already so much space and put so much effort in the introduction of the character, and it would be nice if they would place the move list, you know, on the last page. Yeah. Then we have one of my favorite characters, and here is the same. You get the fighting style, date of birth, blood type, and things like that. Yeah, and then some screenshots. And here's some art design. Yeah, she's really, really funny. I like her personality, yeah. And no, it's not about the big boobs. No, it's not about that, you know. I'm not this kind of guy. Yeah, here my all-time classic, Terry Bogard, of course. But I miss his Cappy, you know, from Fatal Fury. But actually, for that, you have this download code, you know, this DLC. Yeah, then we have Billy Kane, of course. If you're inside of the series, then you know him. Then Kim Dong-hwan, I hope I pronounced that correctly. His fighting style is Taekwondo. I did this in the past also, by the way, if I never told you guys this. Yeah. But he is not here. I don't like him, you know. I don't know why I didn't have the connection with him. Then we have Gato, and he is a kung fu guy. Looks a little bit like Shaolin, something like this, you know. Yeah, awesome. I love the presentation. Looks so cool. By the way, about the paper quality, it's okay. It's good. It doesn't feel too cheap, but it's not so thick paper, you know. But it's okay. No complaints about that. But I really miss the move list. Really, I miss that. Yeah. So I move a little bit more faster, you know, because we have so many characters. If you want to see more stuff in detail, you can just pause the video. And here's a good example that Japanese love German names, you know. Kane R. Heinlein. What the fuck is an Heinlein? This is nothing. This is nonsense. This makes no sense at all, you know. But Japanese people love the German language, you know. So like words like Ehrgeiz, or wait, what was the other thing? Vanessa Z. Schneider, you know, things like that. That sounds so German, you know. No, it's sometimes, most of the time, it really feels ridiculous. So, yes. It doesn't feel ridiculous, it sounds ridiculous. Sorry, that was the right word. Yeah, and here's Marco Rodriguez, yes. He's a Spanish guy. He looks really Spanish with a lot of chest hair. He looks cool. And he's a pro wrestler, yes, I like that. He is quite big in the game, and he feels like a tank, you know. But he reminds me of the way he got presented from King. King is a wrestling character from the Tekken series, and he uses, I think, a tiger mask, something like that. And this one is an eagle. So, yeah, it's similar. Let's say it like that. Fox Reaper, yeah. So, rev it up, unleash your fury. Then we have the locations. And these are the backgrounds. And they look so gorgeous. I love that. So cool art design, you know. And till this point, I think SNK, no, I have to say different. If you look at the Fatal Fury series, Samurai Showdown, and of course the King of Fighters series, SNK really produced one of the finest backgrounds in the fighting genre. You know, really, they're mastering this art so well when we talk about the background presentation. Yes. Check out all the detail here, you know. Looks so nice. I love it. Yes. And then we have the Terry key art. Yeah, and this is cool. This is some kind of retrospective. You can see how Terry evolved through the years, over the years, and in this series. So here's this Terry Bogard from the first Fatal Fury, and then you can see how he really changed, you know. And I thought in Garou Mark of the Wolf, his look was totally different, you know, because he had always this iconic look with his cappy and his jacket, his jeans and stuff like that. And when people saw him for the first time, some people, really long-time fans, got really shocked because it's so different, you know. And this is then the DLC character, DLC costume, what you can download if you can pay. I think it costs something like $2, something like that, yeah. And then you have the character selection of all the games, you know, from the early beginning. The King of Fighters, yes, the first one. And it's quite funny, in the single story, in the single player, you can just choose 3 characters. Yeah. In the second part, actually, they add more characters. And Fatal Fury Special was, I believe, even the first Fatal Fury what I ever played on the Super Nintendo. Of course, never on the Neo Geo, never. Yes. And what is so interesting, I heard so many good things about Garou Mark of the Wolves, and then I remember. Let me think, that was the PlayStation 4 version the first time. I mean, the game came out 26 years ago in 1999, you know. And I heard so many stuff, and I talked with many Neo Geo owners who really said this is one of the best 2D fighting game ever. And I was able to play it for the first time then as a downloadable title on the PlayStation 4. Yeah, and it's a good game, really, really good game with awesome pixel design. Yes. Yeah, and that is the art book. Really, really cool, but one complaint, like I said, no move list. Waste opportunity, really waste opportunity. But I was hoping, because we get a huge poster, I was hoping that we get the move list on the other side of this poster, like what we had with King of Fighters 13. I thought so, and soon you guys will see that this is a small disappointment also. Yeah, so this is Southtown, and sorry, the poster is quite big. So in the story, in the single player campaign, you will move from location to location. Yeah, that is nice. It's not a must have. I mean, it's interesting, you know, to know all the places, you know, from Southtown. I mean, Central City in this case, but I would love to have a move list, you know, for all the characters, especially when I turn this around now. Then you see here we have a relationship chart that explains how all the characters are evolved with each other. That is nice to understand, you know, more the storyline, but there's still no move list, you know. What the hell? What the heck? What the fuck? Yeah, really, really. A real shame. Yeah. So, and this is still my biggest complaint when I talk about the, deluxe special hyper edition, you know, awesome art book, good steelbook, soundtrack CDs, sticker, just regular retail version, poster included. But I missed the move list. All that stuff, you know, what is so important for a fighting game. Yeah, but I mean, yes, in the game you have a tutorial. And of course, I played the tutorial before I played the single player. But I always love to have, you know, my move list in front of me, and then I can pause the game, and then I can look again, you know. And I don't want to be in the menu and to scroll through all the characters to find the move list, you know. No, I just want to have it in the menu or just in the booklet or here on this poster. Yeah, but when we talk about the game, it's an awesome title. Is it worth the full price of €80? Yeah, I would say yes. I mean, I was lucky that I got it a little bit cheaper. I mean, the used price for €50, that it's really more than worth, you know. And if you're a collector and you're a fan of the series, you will be happy with the content, what I just showed you. So, and like usual, this is now the end of this video. If you guys like my content, give me a thumbs up or subscribe. See you next time, guys. And don't forget to support your local video game store. Servus.